Welcome back, everyone, once again to a brand new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff. Why are you already laughing?
Because my brain keeps going back to our idea in the green room.
Oh, man.
I'm Ron. Oh, God.
We had a diabolical concept for something that if we actually did it, this shit would actually, I'm not even kidding, this shit would go viral on TikTok. So what our idea is Ron and I at a movie theater for a brand new, like, we don't even go like opening day, we go fucking like opening night to like the very, very first showing to be with the people who are the most excited for whichever summer blockbuster you want to go to. And then we do a live recording of our podcast as the movie's going, just to see how fast it takes for people to murder us.
Just walk in with some microphones and an iPad Pro and just plug in. Just as soon as the lights go down. Welcome back to Screenplay Rewind.
Welcome back to a special live installment of you just start hearing us getting the shit beat out of us.
With our microphones.
Yeah, it's almost worth the hospital bill, dude, because it's content. Oh, man. Can you think of a better 100th episode than the one that leads to us being in the hospital? Because then we can do a bonus episode from the hospital, Ron. It writes itself. It's too good.
I had fully recovered and was ready to go, and then as soon as you brought us in, all I could think about was being in the movie theater.
And we have a live Q&A with the audience members who are glaring at us. What's the worst that can happen, man?
Oh, it's gonna be great. If we had like Patreon supporters, that would be a goal.
Oh, man. What do you think would be the number one movie to go to ensure we are beaten to a bloody pulp like we got, like fucking Batman got a hold of us, dude?
It's gotta be either an Avengers movie or a Star Wars movie, like
man,
like a numbered Star Wars movie, right?
Yeah,
like episode 10. Yeah,
fuck, dude. Yeah, I could definitely see that. If you want to go to the movie series that would just lead to passive aggressive glares, we go to the next Star Trek movie.
Oh no, I know, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh man,
that's the one.
And then we specifically go order our tickets to like dress to be with people who dressed up. And we sit right next to people that are like the most hyped for it, and they're fucking ready to go once the fucking credits are about to start at the beginning. It's like, welcome back, everyone, once again. Oh fuck, it's too good. It's too good. It's too good.
Too good.
All right, Ron. Well, we are going to be covering your selection of the 13th Warrior today.
Goddamn right.
I forget. Did we have you speak about what made you select it at the end of the last episode? Because it's been like 2 weeks, and I as soon as we finish our recording, I forget what happened. So
yeah, no, I don't remember if we said or not, but yeah, I love this movie, and it is one of the movies we watched before we were recording the podcast, and this was just our like once or twice a month thing that we were doing.
Yeah, before we began subjecting it to the entire internet,
right before we decided to record it for some reason, we did this to each other. But yeah, no, I love this movie. It's just one of my go-to comfort movies, like Indiana Jones.
Gotcha.
I've watched the fuck out of this movie. I've watched the fuck out of this movie with my dad. This is absolutely, like, I feel like John McTiernan is the ultimate director for this is the movie I'm gonna watch on like a Sunday afternoon with my dad, like between like Die Hard and Predator and like this. It's like nothing but I'm gonna watch this fucking movie with my dad. I mean, what do you expect from me when the poster says from the author of Jurassic Park and the director of Die Hard?
Is that like what sold you on this? Like, did you like Beowulf ahead of time and like sought this out? Did you watch the movie and then kind of get into Beowulf? Like, what led to your interest in this? Because I think before you showed it to me, I actually hadn't ever seen it.
So I don't remember, because this movie came out 25 years ago. I didn't see it in theaters. I know that.
So there was nobody podcasting a live recording.
No, so I knew of Beowulf and liked Beowulf. I had read Beowulf on my own, like outside of school.
Gotcha.
But, I don't remember which translation because God, that is probably 30 years ago. But I did not realize for some reason the first time I watched this movie that this movie was Beowulf. It was much later when I got my hands on the Eaters of the Dead audiobook that Michael Crichton talks about it at the end of the book, and the afterword talks about how he wrote the book on a dare because he had a friend who was like a college professor who was proposing a new class that is nothing but all the tedious books, like breaking them down and studying them. And the very first story that he wanted to cover was Beowulf. And Michael Crichton says that he disagreed that Beowulf should be included in the list, that it was a heroic, dramatic, like epic story, and that he didn't believe that it would belong in the course list. And his buddy disagrees that it was any of those things, that it's just boring and tedious and hard to get through, and there's not any point in reading it, which is what you want from your literature professor. And basically, Michael Crichton said, "No, it's epic, and I can prove it." And his goal was to take the tedium out of reading it because it's in the prose. That's the problem with Beowulf. If you get through Beowulf, Beowulf is a great story to read. It is hard as fuck to read because of the prose.
Oh God, when was the original story written? It's like
no one knows.
Crazy old.
It could be 700 BC. It could be right around 1000. We don't know. It wasn't written. It was one of those stories that was told again and again and again and again orally, and then some monk put it down on paper. And when he did, he injected Christianity all throughout the whole thing. So
because that's what you did.
Huh?
Because that's what you did.
Exactly. I mean, well, especially if you're trying to take over a culture, you absorb that culture in, right? So that's how you get Christmas. That's how you get Easter and all kinds of stuff. So they there's a bunch of different translations. There are recommended translations. And then Michael Crichton decided that the best way to write it is if it was like a found footage movie in book form, like if it was a found manuscript, and that it had been found, but no one had really realized what it was. And then you have two narrators. You have Ibn Fadlan, which was a real guy. This is a fictional story about an adventure a real guy had. So Ibn Fadlan is where everything we know about the Vikings comes from, because Vikings didn't write anything down. And he was a real guy that spent time in the north with Vikings and Norsemen and had some adventures, but he became the perfect vehicle for Michael Crichton because he had read his manuscripts and he's like, this is perfect because he can tell it through the lens. If it was going to be something that seemed like it was based in fact, then it needed to sound like someone who was telling the events in a way that they didn't recognize how important those events were in the time. And he couldn't do that creating it. So he needed Ibn Fadlan to create it while he was creating. He goes into this big old long thing in the afterword about his thought process around creating this manuscript. But it's like, it's a found manuscript. It's a fake found manuscript. No one realizes what it was. So the second voice is a professor that is recognizing that this is Beowulf, that this is what the story of Beowulf is based on. So Bolvi is Beowulf. Antonio Banderas plays Ibn Fadlan. You've got the Wendol in this. Sounds a lot like Grendel, right? Grendel.
Yeah.
Grendel attacks when they're sleeping. They pretend to be sleeping, but they're awake. You have the glowworm. Beowulf fights a dragon in the story. He goes and kills the mother of Grendel. Like, it's all the elements of Beowulf are there in this movie.
Yeah, it was gonna. Well, we'll jump back to our Q&A section too here in just a second. I just want to quickly point out, like, it kind of like threw me off a little bit because I remembered this being like kind of like, you know, like Beowulf. It is very subtle with the way that it's Beowulf. It's not. They don't ever even like really draw that close of attention to it. It's kind of crazy.
So the movie, I don't believe, is really trying to. The book, it's a lot more obvious. Because that's it, literally what the book is trying to do. The book is Beowulf. It's just a retelling of Beowulf, right? So from that aspect, the movie is not 100% the book, but ironically enough, still, as far as an adaptation goes, this movie is almost as dead on, outside of failing to try to be Beowulf as much as possible, as, like, say, The Martian is. Just about everything that you see in the movie is in the book, and the things they make up for the movie, it's the only way around getting through Michael Crichton's love of just talking forever. Like, the joke about Jurassic Park is that the book starts on page 80.
So I have listened to the audiobook of the first half of Jurassic Park and kind of drifted off of it eventually, but holy fuck.
If you can stay with it, it's great. But
I'm sure it is, but man,
I will tell you right now,
the intro part is not bad, but it's because
no, it is bad because it's the history of Engine before it was Engine, and its stock prices and the history of the stock between these two companies before they merged to create Engine, and then the history of Engine from there forward. It's real strange.
So I don't think the writing itself is bad as far as like the way he wrote it. He writes it fairly interesting because Michael Crichton was a really talented dude.
Yeah,
graduated from Harvard apparently, like smart motherfucker. What's weird to me is that's like the very first thing you're taught when you're trying to learn to write is start as close to the inciting incident as possible.
Yeah, that's like, not what he does at all.
Not them. Hey, we're gonna get to shit eventually. Maybe sit down. That's so, like the opening of Jurassic Park. It's very bizarre.
Where the Eaters of the Dead works for me is it's two voices. It's two narrators. So because it is a study of a historical manuscript. So what I mean is you will have two voices. You'll have Ibn Fadlan talking and describing something, and he's Muslim. And he is talking through about everything, trying to be as set apart from that as possible, just trying to be as objective as possible. But he'll still say something here or there that then the scholar that is studying the manuscript comes in and explains why this would be odd to Ibn Fadlan or why he would not approve of this or that. Like the cow urine thing on his wounds. Like Muslims abhor anything to do with urine or like feces or even just mud or anything like that. Like anything dirty.
That's why they have that scene where they're like spitting into the community pot,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and that is described in detail in the book as well, as far as well as his reaction. And he talks about like how he insisted on just seawater, just like boiled seawater instead of the urine. And then the guy breaks in and talks about like, yeah, the salt in seawater. Like Muslims like believe in the healing power of like water and how pure water is, but also talks about like how boiled down urine is an excellent source of ammonia, which is a cleaning agent and an antiseptic, which is why they use it to treat wounds and stuff. And he just comes in talking about like how he fills in the gaps. Anytime Ibn Fadlan stops being objective or whatever, you hear this other voice come in. And that is the scholar that is translating this manuscript and studying this manuscript. It's a really... I'm not describing the book well, and I don't know how to describe it. It's something you either have to read or hear for yourself
It sounds interesting.
But take the way Michael Crichton did Jurassic Park and apply that to what I am talking about, right? He's got the perfect writing style for that.
When you're doing like an indirect like retelling, that's kind of, his.
Yeah, because he says the motivation behind the way he picked it was like this guy assumed, what if Homer or the Odyssey? The Iliad, I mean, or Odyssey. I think it was the Odyssey. Suppose the Odyssey was based on something real. And then they went out and found this ancient city that everyone thought was fake. And then he gives another example of where that happened, like this other epic poem. Like, assume there was something real in that. Then the guy went out and found this other ancient city and artifacts that back up it was based on something real. So he was like, we don't know if Beowulf is or not. But what if it was? What would that look like? And then that's where he started doing this. And he talks about how he actually studied Ibn Fadlan's manuscript in college. So he was sitting there racking his brain trying to figure out the perfect like vehicle or character. And he didn't want to invent a character because that would be him. He needed someone that is not himself for this to work. And he said it took him entirely too long to figure out, I already know someone. Ibn Fadlan did this. I've studied his manuscript. I know the way he writes, the way he thinks, and he literally did this thing. So he used Ibn Fadlan. So the book is fictional about a real manuscript discovered. It is a piece of work, man, and it's really, really good.
It sounds really interesting. I think I might like this story better when it's told in that kind of interesting manner. Just because I think they're trying to like go about adapting that, which is almost like impossible to adapt. Because I like the second half of this movie a lot better than I like the first half of the movie, and I think all of that would be more interesting actually reading it from what you're saying.
There are more details we'll get into when we get there that they changed, and it made sense to change it. But there's one aspect I wish hadn't been changed. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, I don't know. I love this movie. I loved it before I knew it was Beowulf. And then I found out it was Beowulf. And then I watched it again. I was like, holy fuck, this is Beowulf.
Yeah, I'm going to be leaning on Ron a lot during this because I am not a huge Beowulf guy. And you've done a lot of like research into... Did you say you had recently listened to the book again?
I have spent the last 2 weeks. I watched the movie. I listened to the audiobook. I listened to Beowulf on audio, and the HP Podcraft guys, the HP Lovecraft Literary Society, when they ran out of HP Lovecraft stuff, they made a new podcast called Strange Studies of Strange Stories, and they covered Beowulf on both of those podcasts, the HP Lovecraft one and that one. And I went and listened to them talk about Beowulf, and that I highly recommend because it's not just the two of them talking into a microphone like we're about to do. One of them went and got their old English professor and talked to him about it, while the other one interviewed an actual, like, was she a Harvard professor of literature or something? That her expertise is in Beowulf. Like, she has written numerous things about Beowulf. Like,
Isn't that nuts how there are some people who have that title? It's like, yeah, I'm a fucking expert at Beowulf.
Well, it'd be like
me. You know what? I'm a fucking expert at Bloodborne, dude.
Yeah, well, like, he was basically like, so why Beowulf? And it's because Beowulf is in everything. Like, they even talk about the parts of Beowulf that influence Harry Potter. Like, Beowulf is the epic poem. It is the epic story that everything you love about storytelling stems from. Yeah. So every fantasy, every sci-fi, every
The Witcher.
The Witcher like,
is very, very influenced by Beowulf.
Like, everything kind of comes back to Beowulf in some way. And
Geralt even has like the kind of same imagery as Beowulf when you think about it, especially fucking Henry Cavill.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Henry Cavill is so fucking jacked that he looks more like Beowulf than he does Geralt.
There is a movie real quick. I want to say it was Robert Zemeckis. It didn't do well, but we played it in IMAX. Yeah, it's Robert Zemeckis. Neil Gaiman and Roger Avery wrote it. Stars Crispin Glover, Ray Winstone.
I remember that. I don't think I ever saw it though. Is that the one that had like Angelina Jolie as one of the voices?
Angelina Jolie is Grendel's mother.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins is Hrothgar.
Yeah, I remember it having a really good cast.
It has an excellent cast and an excellent pedigree. I mean, Neil Gaiman, Robert Zemeckis. Boy, it did not do shit in theaters to my memory, at least not at our theater.
Was this one of the ones that was in the like vein of the Polar Express, where it was like the CGI animation?
Yeah, it's Robert Zemeckis, so it's gonna be Polar Express like.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
I feel like they probably could have done better if he hadn't gone just like full blown into that I don't even know what to call it, the CGI animated art style thing they had going, because like I feel like it kind of worked for like Polar Express because it felt more like I don't know. I feel like that type of animation shouldn't have become the touchstone for the production company. It should have just been like a one-off thing.
Well, it was also a new technology. Polar Express was the first of its kind, where there had never been a full feature length IMAX film before. And Robert Zemeckis made that. Was Beowulf the second? Or maybe third?
I think he made a Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey at some point as well in that art style.
I think that was after Beowulf, because Beowulf was 2007.
And then was it him that made like Mars Needs Moms in that art style and that bombed, so it just killed the whole production company pretty much? Is that?
I don't know. I never saw that movie.
I remember.
I don't know anything about that movie. But yeah, I really like that movie.
The Beowulf one, not Mars Needs Moms.
Yeah, no, I've never seen. I think I've seen one trailer for that movie, and then it just kind of disappeared.
I feel like it was from the same. It might not, but I feel like there was one movie from that company that like bombed, and then they just stopped making movies in that style. But let's real quick, we'll circle back to 13th Warrior and everything. But let's
no,
get through
Jeff, I love this movie. We're gonna keep talking.
I quickly asked like what made you pick it, and then 20 minutes later we have like a history lesson on Beowulf and shit. So just calm down, Ron. You'll have your turn.
No.
You'll have your turn, buddy.
It's too fascinating.
I had a question,
and it's one thing. It's the one thing in my life I know, Jeff.
You're an expert at 13th Warrior.
I am. Not Beowulf, but 13th Warrior.
13th Warrior. I studied McTiernan. So we have a few comments.
I was born in McTiernan, molded by McTiernan.
You merely adopted the Beowulf. We have a few comments, and one of them actually made me think of a question for you that I'm curious what your answer would be.
I thought of a question for you too.
Oh shit!
Oh fuck! Wonder Twin powers activate.
We are way too prepared for this fucking episode. That's not a good sign.
It's not even 100. That's the next one.
It's not even 100. All right. So our first comment, and these are from the YouTube comments of Battlefield Earth, our most recent episode, that was the thrilling conclusion. What was the crap lousy?
The crap lousy conclusion
to Friends and Family Month.
We need to get that. We need to make that a thing.
We do. Bobby wrote in and said, House of the Dead is better than this. I haven't seen House of the Dead, but I believe you, even though that is, I want to say, a Uwe Boll movie, so it's not dramatically better than Battlefield Earth.
I'm going to look it up, though.
Christina said, don't you wish you let us all pick Twilight movies?
No.
See, Battlefield Earth is terrible. But it was because of us vetoing Twilight Month that we got Kung Fu Hustle.
It is true.
Which is worth everything. The landlady, dude. The landlady. I want a spin-off movie where it is Beowulf attacking the landlady. Give me that movie. Bobby wrote in again and said, that's Ron Goose. which to everyone outside of our friend circle, that means absolutely nothing other than you made it your Twitter handle, I think.
It is my Twitter handle.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said it the way you did, because in my head, it was like that's Quagmire bit.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly what I was aiming with it. That's Quagmire. I also want to say my favorite part of that comment too is underneath that's Ron Goose, translate to English. That's my favorite part. We gotta have like a fucking scribe to translate the Ron Goose literature.
The Ron Goose is loose, baby.
And I'll do my question spawn up this last comment, and then I'll turn it back to you. I'm gonna do this. I'm just saying. I'm gonna speak the last comment, which is a spinoff up into my question, and then I'll let you do your question for me afterwards.
Okay.
So our next comment was from Bjorn Skivids, who said, "This is one of my favorite so bad it's funny movies." And my question for you, Ron, was what would you say is your favorite so bad it's good movie?
Oh, boy.
Because that's like more your wheelhouse than mine. If I had to pick one, I'll give you a second to think. I think, now granted, we haven't watched these in like several years, but I think the one that I liked the most back when we were watching these more often was Attack of the Killer Donuts. That was one that I actually had a lot of fun with.
See, that's what I was thinking of, something like that, but does that count? Isn't that the intention of the movie when it's made?
Yeah. So it's kind of like it's kind of a like a weird kind of categorical thing for it, where if it's intentional, is it so bad it's funny? I think it kind of works because they are trying to make it so like outlandish and stupid that it is funny.
They set out to make what they did. Whereas Battlefield Earth, they thought it was better than Star Wars.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Travolta did.
I don't assume Travolta's gender, Jeff.
With that, you can kind of like wrap them in together. So it's like whatever, just whatever you want to pick. Because that's the first one that came to my mind was Attack of the Killer Donuts.
I don't know. The first one that came to my mind was Attack of the Killer Donuts, and the second one that came to mind was Rubber.
Rubber. What is Rubber? I don't know if I've seen that.
Rubber stars a tire lost out in the middle of the desert that has telekinetic powers.
have heard of this. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of this.
Yeah, it rolls around the desert blowing things up with its mind. It's literally just a tire rolling around the whole movie, and it's blowing up animals, blowing up humans. I don't know, because come on. Sharkenstein and House Shark and all that was the point of those movies. Velocipaster, stuff like that was the point. But Rubber, I think, was actually trying to be like a think piece.
Yeah.
It was like trying to make a statement, and I'm not sure what it was. It was
right.
We need to have it on the show at some point.
I feel like the ultimate ones that are like so bad they're good are when you like go back to like Ed Wood, like he constantly was thinking he was making cinema because Ed Wood just wanted to make movies, and he would make the movie at all costs because he was just so infatuated with being a movie director that like all of those movies are some of the worst things ever made, but like it wasn't ever. Like they weren't ever in on the joke because he was making art in his own way, which is kind of like endearing at the same time. It's like a big foundation for the Ed Wood movie from Tim Burton, which is really good. Probably my favorite Tim Burton movie actually, just because it's the most like, we don't have your typical Tim Burtonisms in it really. Like, one that I thought of too that might be like kind of in this vein is The Happening. The Happening has some really...
I still haven't seen The Happening.
Now, I haven't seen it in its entirety, but just watching some of the clips are fucking hilarious. And M. Night thought he was making cinema, and that is hilarious.
See, like, Signs became a meme, and it's got a lot of really stupid shit in it, but overall I like Signs because I like the idea of it.
I like Signs too. I like Signs a lot actually.
Because there's a lot of ideas in that movie that still freak me the fuck out. Like when he looked out the window and there's just this figure standing on top of the barn looking towards the house. Shit like that.
Your favorite So Bad It's Good might be M. Night's Avatar because you got to listen to me lose my mind for a 2-hour podcast.
Oh God, it was so hard for me to keep my clothes on. I was up there with Cliff Curtis, just having to keep my arms up to keep my wardrobe on.
Man, what was your what was your? Did you want to single on one answer, or are you just kind of going back to Attack of the Killer Donuts? Was that kind of like your fallback?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Rubber since you said Killer Donuts.
Okay, cool. What was your question you had for me?
Well, first we had another comment too on Kung Fu Hustle. It came in a couple days ago.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it means, but I wanted to acknowledge it. I'm gonna assume that this is a language barrier, but it's from Victor Rivero, MS9RN. So I don't have my glasses on. I like watch full movies, it says. And I don't know. Thank you for commenting.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. If we had Michael Crichton, we could have him investigate and try to figure out what happened, but we don't.
Remind me near the end of this show, you just reminded me of something. There's an anecdote in the afterword of the book that I want to get to before we close out.
Anecdote, back of the book. I'm going to forget this, but I'm going to try my best.
I'm counting on you, Jeff.
Okay. What was your question?
So there's I'm taking the idea from a segment from another podcast that I listen to, where they have every week they talk about their goosebump moment of whatever, like what gave them goosebumps, either in a game they played or a movie they watched or whatever. And what I wanted to know from you, and I have my answer already if you want a moment to think about it. What is your goosebump moment for Star Wars, the entire Star Wars franchise? What is the moment you think of that gave you goosebumps when you saw it?
You go ahead. I'll think about it.
Okay, so it had a lot of problems. Overall, I don't really like it, but it has my favorite lightsaber battle of the entire franchise, and my favorite goosebump moment of Star Wars is at the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi, in that Darth Vader fight after he has split Darth Vader's helmet, and you get the voice modulation switching back and forth between Anakin and Darth Vader, and just the lighting. And the moment they choose to have the voice modulation kick back in when he says, "I'm not your failure. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did." Like the Darth Vader kicks in at the "I did." Oh,
it's very good.
It's so good.
Have I shown you the snippets from Ahsoka that are similar to that with Anakin?
I don't think I haven't seen a single second of Ahsoka.
So I'm gonna pull up those clips and show them to you because they are some of the best cinematography that's ever been in Star Wars and might be the best. But there are a couple of scenes where it's Hayden Christensen in Ahsoka, and Ahsoka is in the slight spoilers. Like I'll be vague about it, but she's pretty much in this kind of like spirit world type thing where she's part of the Force, but she's not like fully dead, and she's able to kind of like move around in time. They have these scenes that are flickering back and forth between like different time periods. And at one point they show Hayden Christensen and he's in like this, like surrounded by this fog, and he is actively flickering in between states of being Anakin and being Darth Vader. And it is one of the most gorgeous shots I've ever seen in a Star Wars thing. It is so good. Oh my God.
But yeah, Anakin punched down. All of the life support systems in his Darth Vader suit are smashed. His helmet is been cleaved open by Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and you just have that red light glowing on his face. And you can see just enough of his face to see him smile when he says "I did" in the Darth Vader voice instead of the Anakin voice. That I am not your failure. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. It's so good.
Yeah, that show isn't perfect, but just to have 6 more episodes of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan is worth all of the issues. Easily.
It's almost entirely worth it just for that moment for me because I loved it so much. That is probably my favorite moment in Star Wars. Just period.
If you want to talk about like literal goosebumps, probably the most like excitement I've ever felt was going to the very first showing of The Force Awakens.
Oh wow.
I went to the very first showing of The Force Awakens in town with some of the most like diehard Star Wars fans.
I was gonna say, I bet that smelled bad.
It did. No, I don't remember, but it probably did. But the opening, once the crawl hits and the crowd loses their fucking mind for an opening, and that was like The Force Awakens. It had been like what 20 years since we had a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
so we had like 20 years. Yeah. Misa killed the franchise.
I don't like this franchise. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere. Fucking god damn it, dude.
But you just keep saying I love you, Star Wars, and Star Wars keeps saying I know.
Right? So we had gone like 20 years without Star Wars, and it was almost like the feeling encapsulated again of what people probably felt when, you know, like The Phantom Menace was happening, because it was about the same time period between the original movies and the prequels as it was from the prequels to the sequel trilogy, you know? So it's like people have gone like 20 years without having Star Wars, and all of a sudden it's back. And that when that crawl hit and that music and just the feeling of excitement from like the whole crowd fucking going apeshit was so good. Probably the only theater moment that tops it for me is Captain Mjolnir will forever be my favorite movie theater moment, because it is just perfection. And I if I could just relive that moment again, oh my god, dude, just like that feeling of fuck yes injected into my veins, just spread across like 1,000 people is fucking incredible.
Oh man, those. Oh god, we need to talk sometime about just our favorite theater moments, like with the audience, not necessarily the movie. Because we've
talked a few times about the "Don't Breathe" one, because that is just so priceless.
Oh shit!
We're about to have a new one once we do our next live show recording.
Welcome back to Screenplay Rewind. Talking over the movie as loud as possible. Yeah, that's pretty good. So the anticipation, or the relief of the anticipation for Star Wars.
Just that, sure. So, like, that's the thing about movie theater, like showings and stuff, is sometimes going to the movie theater will actively ruin your whole day, you know, because you'll just be surrounded by some jackasses that won't shut the fuck up. You're near like a baby crying, etc. So many ways it can go bad, but when it goes right, like with the Captain Mjolnir thing, the "Don't Breathe" moment we had, it's just nothing else beats it, dude. It's so good. Did you have anything else to add with our Q&A section? By the way, if I didn't already say, if you have any questions or prompts for Ron and myself, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com, or just hit us up in the YouTube comments. We read those as well. So, yeah, did you have anything else to add with our Q&A section, Ron, before we hop back to your favorite movie of all time?
No, I don't think that's about it.
Ron, are you the 14th warrior?
I wish. I was the one walking behind Ibn Fadlan writing the manuscript.
You wrote the cliff notes
of Beowulf. At the end of the movie. That alphabet looks like work. I wouldn't even bother learning to write, probably.
All right. By the way, 38 minutes in. Spoilers for 13th Warrior, everybody.
Spoilers for the 25-year-old movie now.
Spoilers for the 7,000-year-old Beowulf. Yeah. I forget where we were at. I know we had a history lesson. We had some Michael Crichton background. So where would you like to? I'm pretty much just gonna like back the fuck out of the way, since you're a fucking expert in 13th Warrior. Like, where do you want to go from here? I'll let you fucking steer the ship.
I think at this point we are, because of I didn't mean to talk as long as I did. I think we're basically at the directors and writers at this point.
All right. So I usually go through this part. I'm gonna let you do it this time, because you're gonna know the pronunciation of these characters more than I do. I don't know how to fucking pronounce any of these names.
Some of these people, sadly, like they didn't do much outside of this movie, and I think universally around the acting in this movie is pretty damn good.
Yeah. What's the guy that is our favorite? Is it
Harrier.
Dennis? By the way, we're gonna butcher a lot of Swedish names.
It was so bad. We're gonna butcher him like Grendel himself.
But the guy who is it Herger? Is that the guy that we like?
Herger, Harrier, yes.
See, that's what I'm saying, dude. I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. I knew the Beowulf dude, the funny dude, and Antonio Banderas. And that I don't know anybody's fucking names in this. Oh, I did know I don't know his character's name in this. I know I was also referring to him when I was talking to Aurora about it as the fucking Blackfish, dude. He's the Blackfish. By the way, did you recognize him when you were watching Game of Thrones?
No, not at all.
When I booted this up,
dude,
the other night, I was like, "Is that the fucking Blackfish? Where do I know that? Oh, it's the fucking Blackfish."
There's like 15 years difference, and I swear to God, he looks largely the same.
It's just he has streaks of gray in his hair. That's pretty much the only difference. But if anyone isn't aware, the Blackfish is a supporting character in Game of Thrones who is a complete badass and played by one of the actors in here.
Yes, I fucking loved Blackfish.
What's the actor's name?
Did you see Tony Curran?
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh boy,
good luck.
I just want to say, I'm sorry. None of this has anything to do with, American nationalism or.
We're just dumb. We're sorry. We're dumb.
It has nothing to do with American nationalism. I'm just American.
Some of these names have symbols in them, man. What am I supposed to do with that information?
Oh God, we have already mentioned John McTiernan. You may know from Last Action Hero, Rollerball. What else is terrible I can put out there instead of the good things?
John McTiernan is a fascinating director. By the way,
I could write a manuscript about his career.
I stumbled upon this earlier. Did you know John McTiernan went to federal prison?
What?
And yeah, I didn't know about this either. Okay, I'm about to blow your fucking mind, dude. But we're gonna do another fucking detour into the life of John McTiernan. So John McTiernan,
did he make Harrier proud?
the director of Die Hard, Predator, and the fucking Hunt for Red October. This is so fucking nuts.
And Last Action Hero.
Okay. He pleaded guilty to perjury and lying to an FBI investigator in regard to his hiring of the private investigator Anthony Pellicano in late 2000 to illegally wiretap the phone calls of two people. This is like a fucking Die Hard plot. Like, this is what the fuck this happened in real life.
This sounds like his own personal Watergate.
Right? One of whom was Charles Roven, a co-producer of his action film remake Rollerball. He was incarcerated in federal prison from April 2013 to February 2014. During his imprisonment, he filed for bankruptcy amidst foreclosure proceedings for his large ranch.
Oh my God.
Fucking nuts. I had no idea. Could you imagine your fucking your roommate in jail is the director of Die Hard?
I want to make it clear, I'm not laughing that this happened to him. I'm laughing because of, like, what the fuck? Like, this is so ridiculous.
It's real life, but I had never heard of this.
Like, I'm sorry that happened, but maybe don't illegally wiretap people's things, bro, unless, you're the government.
Yeah, so apparently, like, the background for it was he had been in a disagreement with the Roven guy about what type of film Rollerball should be and had hired Pellicano to investigate Roven's intentions and actions about Rollerball.
What?
Rollerball made him spend a fucking year in jail, dude.
For Rollerball. His life was ruined. I have to watch Rollerball now. I have to know.
No, you don't. Have you seen Rollerball?
No, I've never even heard of it.
I watched it a million years ago before I was even old enough to realize that. I watched it a million years ago before I was even old enough to realize movies could be bad. And I knew it was fucking atrocious. That tells you everything you need to know. Don't watch Rollerball.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Well, that
Continue.
was a thing. Michael Crichton apparently directed the reshoots. I did not know that.
I didn't know Michael Crichton could direct. Has he ever directed anything else? Wait,
Yeah,
did he actually direct the Westworld movie?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's directed a few things.
Michael Crichton is an interesting dude.
Yes, very, very much so.
I mean, not as interesting as fucking McTiernan, who like hung out on fucking Cell Block C, but he's pretty interesting.
Tell us about Michael Crichton's rap sheet, Jeff. Yeah, he did 1973, which I believe is the original Westworld.
Yeah,
and then a lot of stuff I don't recognize. Actually, I think I know The Great Train Robbery. Why do I know that? Oh shit! That is Sean Connery and Donald Sutherland. I feel like I've seen this. I don't know. Yeah, he's directed a few things. He's written not just books, but a few screenplays and rewrites for screenplays too.
I knew he had directed Westworld. I'd just forgotten. Because now my brain has just like completely rewired to like Westworld is the new show. And I forget that the original movie was a thing.
So the movie poster doesn't tell you this. The guy who wrote Terminator and Terminator 2 is one of the writers on this movie.
If I could make like a retroactive poster for this, I would put, instead of like from the director of Die Hard, it'd be from the director who went to jail for rollerball. Oh man.
Oh,
I'd watch that movie. This guy went to fucking prison for rollerball, dude. He's crazy.
There's no telling what he'll do.
I need a movie.
Okay.
Nick Cage. Nick Cage plays John McTiernan during his time in prison when he's trying to make movies while still in prison.
Dude,
it writes itself.
He starts making a movie about himself in prison.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd movie?
Oh God. I haven't seen it in 30 years, so I couldn't even tell you.
All right, I'm gonna move that to the top of my list.
What did you like it?
I love that movie.
Do you like it in a it is so bad it's good, or in a this is legitimately good? Because I've heard some bad things about that movie, but I don't remember anything about it.
I'm trying to think. It was probably still in the 90s the last time I saw it. But I've seen it like 3 or 4 times.
I feel like it would make it would make for a fun recording.
Because here's the thing, like, look, if you care enough about Judge Dredd to get pissed off about anything that they change about the character, you probably shouldn't be watching any Judge Dredd movies.
Yeah, and like it's Stallone, so he's gonna take the mask off because you think Stallone's gonna go through a movie without showing his face every nanosecond of the movie. Like,
what's the
not gonna
point?
happen.
What's the point in getting Stallone if you're gonna keep a mask on him? You know, because this is still the era of, oh, this actor's in this movie, I'm gonna go see it. Now we talk more about writers and directors of things, and oh, it also stars this guy. I'm totally seeing that.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it was Stallone, I'm in. You know, like it was that era. So
it's so funny how it alternates like decade to decade. It's like so like 70s, all writers and directors, 80s action stars, 90s indie directors, early 2000s we circle back around to actors, and then in 2010s it's back to writers and directors. It's like every decade it alternates. So we're gonna be back in the realm of just following actors here pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever read a Judge Dredd comic?
My only exposure to Judge Dredd has been the movies. I fucking love that Carl Urban movie though.
So read any Judge Dredd comic and then tell me it's bad that both of those movies changed that character. Because
it's pretty rough.
It's pretty rough. And I maybe it's because I love those movies and that was my first exposure to them. I don't know, but yeah. So
how did we get on the subject of Judge Dredd? I'm lost now.
William Wisher is one of the writers on Judge Dredd, Terminator 2, Exorcist: The Beginning, which is the 2004 one. Then Warren Lewis is the other writer. He's got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 credits to his name. One of which is Black Rain, which is supposed to be a really good movie, and I have that on my list for this podcast. Actually,
what was Black Rain again? I'm drawing a blank.
2 New York City cops arrest a Yakuza member and must escort him when he's extradited to Japan. So basically, it's Andy Garcia and Michael Douglas, Cape Capshaw, Stephen Root.
It's directed by Ridley Scott.
And
see, that's all you had to say, dude.
Dude, it's Michael Douglas and Andy Garcia like in Japan as like New York City cops for some reason. But it's Ridley Scott.
It's really fucking Scott, man.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really, really good. Anyways, I heard about that on through Ralph Garman because they recommend movies for people to watch every Friday. And I was like, that sounds really good. I'm adding it straight to the podcast list.
Nice.
Because it sounds like it's right up our alley.
I'll watch anything that Ridley Scott makes because even if it's not good, it's going to be interesting.
Right.
Because that's the thing about Ridley Scott is like,
it'll be well made. It'll be fucking well made. Even if it's so bad it's good, it'll be well made.
That movie we were just talking about was nominated for 2 Oscars for sound and like editing or some shit. So it's like, he is a technical like perfectionist
to the point that some people hate working with him. He's so technical.
Yeah.
Okay. Cast list. This is where it's going to get hairy because there's one name here I can pronounce.
Well, I want to start off the cast just real quick. What are your thoughts on Antonio Banderas? Because I've never really liked Antonio Banderas that much.
I love Antonio Banderas. I'll watch anything he's in.
I have never understood why people like Antonio Banderas because he is always like the way that you feel about Affleck. It's kind of how I feel about Antonio Banderas. He's always just Antonio Banderas, and while I don't like actively hate the dude, he's just always Antonio Banderas for me. So I don't really get like excited about seeing him in the movie. He's just kind of there.
I agree with you. So he's
charming.
That's the difference. So
I buy him as a movie star. I just don't really like him as an actor, if that makes sense.
So we've talked a lot about like how Ben Affleck drives me nuts, but then there's also other actors that I am blanking on right now because I've been sick for the last couple of days and am jacked up on caffeine, that are also pretty much just the same person all the time, but they have a charisma about them. That's the difference. And he's got a charisma about him, even though he's just always Antonio Banderas. I will watch Antonio Banderas movies for Antonio Banderas.
See, he's like, to me, like one of my least favorite parts of this movie.
Really?
Is Antonio Banderas. I just don't like, I don't really like his characterization. Now, granted, like, that's not really like the point of this movie, but I just don't, I never watched an Antonio Banderas movie walking away thinking he's like my favorite, like, a character in the movie. Like, hardly. Granted, I haven't seen like a ton of his movies.
Have you seen The Mask of Zorro?
Yeah, I like him. He's him a lot more.
He's my favorite character in that for sure.
I like him more. I think that was one of those like perfect encapsulations of like we found the perfect actor for like the perfect role. I think he matches that really well.
Yeah,
but I think here he's like a little bit mismatched as now they picked him for the movie because he's Antonio fucking Banderas. He was fucking, this was like the trailing end of his, you know, superstardom, but he was still Antonio Banderas. So they got him for that. But I don't think he suits this character that well. Granted, there's not much characterization there for people to like delve into, but I don't know. I've always been like, I'm okay with him. I've never fully understood the love for him. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those, again, like you said with Ben Affleck, you pretty much either like him or you don't. Like he's got a charisma about him that I appreciate. So like I said, I'll watch pretty much anything that has him in it. And
what's the movie?
I grew up watching the black and white Zorros on like Nick at Night and stuff. So when Mask of Zorro came out and it was Antonio Banderas, I was all the fuck over that.
Right. What's the one with him? Desperado.
I still need to see that. I've never.
How the fuck have you not seen Desperado? That's like one of the movies I like. I remember liking Antonio Banderas, and that's like one of his.
I've seen moments from the sequel where like he doesn't have eyes or something, but I've never actually seen the first.
Oh
one.
yeah, with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't seen that.
I don't even know what it is.
I'm surprised you haven't seen Desperado. I thought they'd be like, that's such a Ron movie, especially if you like Antonio Banderas. That's like the ultimate '90s Antonio Banderas. That was like him with fucking Robert Rodriguez, like back in the day.
So, speaking of, did you know? Let me verify this. I think Danny Trejo just turned like 79 or something.
He's eternal, dude.
Dude, Machete will never die. 1944. So 56 to 2000, 56 and 24. He's 80.
Goddamn.
Machete is 80. And still one of my favorite people on the planet.
I love him.
He's another one. He's always just Danny Trejo, but he's got a charisma about him.
Yeah, but I think Danny Trejo fits more in the like.
He has a flavor for sure.
Trejo is more in the like Jeff Goldblum, Christopher Walken territory of he is just
Jeff Goldblum icon. Is who I was trying to think of, by the way.
He is like an icon in his own right, and he transcends being an actor into being a fucking legend. And I think that's different from like Banderas and Affleck, who are movie stars instead of like particularly great actors.
Given your hate for Robert Rodriguez and Machete, I'm surprised Danny Trejo does anything for you at all.
I like Danny Trejo a lot. I just did not like that movie.
And you cannot get through those movies. That's
the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with Robert Rodriguez because some things he makes I fucking hate, and then he makes stuff like Sin City that I really like. And I remembered liking Desperado when I saw it 75 years ago. But I don't know. It's kind of like Tim Burton in a way. It's like I hate most of what Tim Burton has made, but there's a few of them that I really like.
I tend to like Tim Burton stuff and hate him. So
he's a terrible human.
It's the opposite for me. And I can't separate people from their art like a lot of people can, but for some reason
I can usually.
I cannot. And for some reason I'll watch a Tim Burton thing and be like, I kind of like this and I don't want to because it's Tim Burton.
What was like Sleepy Hollow? I remember liking Sleepy Hollow a lot.
I love that
movie
so much.
Fucking Walken's in that. Speaking of Walken, right?
He's the Hessian.
This guy lost his head. I don't know what's going on.
It was me.
this Tim. Why does every movie we put weird makeup on Johnny? Where were we at? Oh, let's talk about my favorite guy in the cast. Like get to the.
First, someone who doesn't get enough love is Diane Venora. Is how I'm going to assume you say her name. Most people will know her for Heat. I know her from The Jackal.
Okay.
She is one of the coolest characters in The Jackal.
So she was the queen.
Yes.
In this, okay.
In The Jackal, she is a Russian operative that her entire side of her face is scarred, and that's why Bruce Willis thinks she's beautiful. But he still kills the fuck out of her because he's the fucking Jackal. It's her and J.K. Simmons and a few other people, along with Richard Gere and Sidney Poitier, trying to take down Bruce Willis. And if you don't like Bruce Willis, this is the Bruce Willis movie for you because he has like 2 lines in the whole movie.
Bruce Willis is also another one of those. Is always Bruce Willis, and is just like,
which is why sometimes he works for me, and sometimes he doesn't. Because sometimes he's cast because he's Bruce Willis, not because we needed Bruce Willis, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like it fits perfectly, and he's fantastic. Like John McClane.
I don't care how much you hate any Die Hard movie after the first one. He is still perfect in those movies, you know?
Yeah. It's John McClane. Granted, they fucking completely lost the entire point of the character from a writing perspective and a directing perspective, but like it wasn't him.
Those movies are still fun though.
Yeah, the problem is the first is arguably the best action movie ever made, and the rest of them became like cartoons. So yeah, by comparison, they're absolute garbage.
I think that's a little harsh for the third one.
No. I'm talking about the fourth one and beyond. After the third one, they are literal fucking. It might as well be a fucking Captain America movie. He's like dodging jets on a fucking crashing like highway. Some stupid shit, right? Silent Bob's there. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm entertained.
Exactly. The third one is actually my favorite in that franchise.
It's so tough. I still side with the first one, but it's a fucking photo finish because
I get it.
Jeremy Irons.
I get it, but I mean it's a buddy cop between Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis against Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy fucking Irons, dude.
Oh,
yes.
Come on.
But also shoot the gloss. It's like you can't beat
but when Jeremy Irons is good, he's so good, and when he's bad, he's great. So like, I mean, come on, and he's but also
so Alan Rickman.
Villain.
Alan Rickman, man, is also it's like I fucking love me some Alan Rickman in Die Hard, dude. It's so good. What an awesome fucking wombo combo on your resume is Die Hard and Die Hard 3. I mean, let's not talk about Rollerball, but he fucking gave a shit about Rollerball because he did fucking time for Rollerball.
Apparently, he was the only person that gave a shit about Rollerball.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where shit gets rough.
Good luck, dude.
I'm gonna say it's Dennis. It's probably something like Denny, I'm gonna guess, but Storhy?
No clue.
Question mark? Dennis question mark?
I think it might not be Denis, because like Denis is like the French pronunciation of it, right?
Sure.
Isn't that like Denis Villeneuve? Isn't that like how his pronunciation is?
It is.
I don't fucking know. I'm gonna call him Dennis the Menace. That's what his fucking name is.
He's Harrier the Joyous, dude. Harrier the fucking Joyous. My favorite character in the book. My favorite character in the movie.
He is the best character in the movie by a fucking country mile.
So, what's interesting about his character is in the book, he converses directly with Ibn Fadlan. Ibn Fadlan never learns their language. Harrier knows Latin, and so does Ibn Fadlan. So they speak in Latin to each other the whole movie, and he translates everything for Ibn Fadlan. But there are some things that they had to remove for the movie they had to change. They fixed that in the movie by giving him a translator at the beginning, but then that creates a problem later in the movie because now he doesn't have the translator. So he has to, like, over the course of a few nights, learn their language.
I like that scene a lot when he is actively learning.
My mother was a righteous woman, and at least I know who my father is.
That scene is really well shot and edited, where he is slowly like picking up certain words in the sentences. It's a really well done scene.
I love how they're speaking in their language, but occasionally there's a word or two here and there that's in English.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it just becomes like more and more English as they go on.
And all their performances are natural. Like it's just them going along with their normal conversation. It's really well acted and edited and everything. Yeah. He is, to me,
he's the life of the book and the life of the movie.
He is the entire purpose for the movie existing for me.
Yes.
Like he is the only, because I have some issues mostly with just like with the way the story itself is constructed. I'll get into it a little bit as far as like having too many characters. To where it's a bit like I'll just say my while we're talking about it. This suffers a little bit, and it's not the movie's fault because they're just adapting the story and everything. But like the story having this many characters is like a Lord of the Rings versus the Hobbit problem for me. Like the Lord of the Rings works wonderfully because Tolkien was smart enough to split up the characters, so like the characters have their character like dynamics with each other on display within the scene, because there aren't 20 fucking people in the scene. So it's like when Frodo and Sam split off with Smeagol, like you get interactions, you get a lot of development. When like Gimli is with Legolas and Aragorn, they can have their dynamics. It's like people get like their time to shine. This movie and the story is like The Hobbit. I can't tell you the fucking name of any of those extra fucking hobbits, man. It's like in the Hobbit movies, there will be these scenes where like Peter Jackson has these rando fucking, or not the hobbits, the dwarves. There's like 27 fucking dwarves, and he's like having these scenes where like rando dwarf number 13 is in peril. I don't fucking know that dude's name. I don't give a shit. And that's like part of the problem I have with the first like hour of this movie when they start killing some of these side characters. I don't fucking know anyone's name. The only people I care about are Dennis the Menace, Beowulf, and
Blackfish for other reasons.
Because he's a fucking Blackfish and I love that dude. And Vincent Van Gogh. So it's like, to me, if you were reconstructing this and just kind of saying like fuck the concepts of the book as far as how many characters there are, I think if you boiled this down to just those like main 4 or 5 characters and they were developed more, I think it would make for a better story and actually have more impact when some of those characters die. Because like they have these moments like I was talking about where they grind the movie to a halt to show you that one of the 13 die, but it's like, I don't fucking know that dude's name. I don't care. He's not they're like archetypes. They're not fleshed out characters. So I don't have like, it's like if one of the dwarves died versus one of the Lord of the Rings characters died, you know? So that's kind of like my issue with it.
2 things. First, to your point about The Hobbit, do you want to know why The Hobbit was written that way?
Why?
You want to take one guess?
Sorry, I'm also hyped up on caffeine, so you can just tell me.
Tolkien was a huge fan of the story Beowulf. And
really?
He took a lot from Beowulf and put it in The Hobbit.
Yeah, and then he learned from it and then made The Lord of the Rings, which was better.
Yes, but the 13 warriors and everything in The Hobbit, the list of dwarves, that is referencing basically stuff that happens in Beowulf, the way that the party is constructed in Beowulf and the events of Beowulf.
You get what I'm saying though, as far as like having too many fucking characters to where like it becomes meaningless.
I find it funny your example was to go to The Hobbit, and I can tell you exactly why The Hobbit was written that way.
Honestly, I was mostly dissing on the way the movies were done. So, because fucking Peter Jackson, this fucking Hobbit, this fucking story.
You were that close to Christopher Walken just then. That's fucking
I'm just imagining. If you just give me, can we get a redub of Treebeard, but it's Walken?
Release the river.
These trees were my friends.
A wizard should know better.
We've decided you're not orcs. But I completely lost what I was gonna fucking say. The Hobbit, the fucking book is like the equivalent of a 90-minute movie. Let's make 9 hours of fucking bullshit. Let's make 9 fucking hours of bullshit.
Yeah.
And in that time, you actually have like extra time to develop these 4,000 dwarf characters. Did any of them get developed to the point where I could even tell you their fucking names? Fuck no. The only time I give a shit is like, oh, Legolas is here. I actually have investment in him because he's Legolas and he was in the better movie series. I don't give a shit about these fucking dwarves.
Jeff, I need you to watch this movie and tell me what your elf eyes see. So I'm gonna need you every podcast from now on.
Hrothgar calls for aid.
I'm gonna need you to sit down with a pot of coffee, because I swear to God, that entire rant, you were 15 degrees off of walking the entire time.
I'm so tired, dude.
Tired Jeff is walking Jeff.
Oh God.
Yeah, in the book, the second point I was gonna make is it's the same way in the book. You don't spend any time with those characters. The handful of characters you spend the most time with are the handful of characters you spend the most time with in the book. But what is different is you're getting a manuscript written by a guy that was there and everything he went through and experienced. And he talks about how these people dying are a big problem because their odds of survival are going down, but the enemy just keeps coming, and they are the only warriors this village has. So it's ratcheting up the fear factor for what's going to happen to these characters that you do care about as more of them keep dropping, is the point.
Yeah.
But
and I'm sure it works a lot.
That does not come through the movie as well. I think mainly just because they don't have the time. They could not make this movie the way the book is made. You know what I mean?
Now that's actually something too I wanted to bring up too, because while I dig this movie, I obviously don't like it as much as Ron does, because this is like Ron's favorite thing that's ever been created.
Real quick. I just want to say, not defending that. That is definitely a problem, but I know why the problem exists, right? I know.
Yeah.
I know how the book is.
It's like I was saying, it's like I was critiquing that as more of a critique of that type of like story, like structure, to where they build up so many fucking characters that it's like resting on a house of cards, and there's just too many fucking characters. But that's not, like I said, that's I'm not criticizing the movie too harshly for that, because they're just following the story, and that's fine. But what I was gonna ask though is, did they run into like budget constraints with this? Because it feels like from the tone of it that like McTiernan wanted this to be like his Lord of the Rings, but they were kind of like hamstrung a bit by like budget constraints, because sometimes so like the action scenes look like they wanted to do more, but they're abrupt. I was kind of curious if you knew anything about like the budget for this stuff.
I do not, actually. I was gonna scan the Wikipedia real quick on that, but yeah, it definitely. I didn't know if it was that, or if it was like a like a time constraint, like an editing constraint or something.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, especially in that last battle, but that last battle, even in the book, it's the Wendol have a pretty pitiful showing.
They do. So it's actually like
I think Ibn Fadlan describes it as like the death throes of a dying animal or something.
Gotcha.
They're not really coordinated or anything, but they're not acting the way they did the first two. They're just kind of aimless. They just kind of wash in and attack anything, as opposed to having any kind of strategy, because they're just reacting in anger. So the other thing is the Wendol are Neanderthals. They are cavemen in the story. It was thought that there was a period of time where there could possibly have been like a tribe of Neanderthals around, a lot later than what historians think. And Michael Crichton talks about if he's going to keep this grounded as a thing that actually happened, what would explain the Wendol, right? And he needed caves. He needed swimming underwater to get into the caves. He needed all this stuff, because that's what's in Beowulf. These things needed to happen. And he started thinking about Neanderthals. So the Wendol in this movie are actually canonically in the story Neanderthals, a tribe of Neanderthals that have survived through the ages.
Now, I have a question about the Grendel people. In the movie, are they supernatural, or is it ambiguous? I can't really tell, because like they have conversations about them as if they're supernatural, and they have like a moment later on in the movie where it looks like they almost like disappear, but then are they supernatural, or why? What's the deal with that as far as like the movie and the original story?
So in both the movie and the original book, they are not supernatural. The Northmen believe them to be.
Why were they able to fully disappear after like their first battle with them then? And like, what's the scene where like they're disappearing on the side of the mountain? That's what I was kind of confused.
So on the side of the mountain, they went to a part of the mountain where you can't leave footprints. It's that part of the mountain is rock. It's not dirt. That's why they retreat up the mountain. Then there's no path to follow. They don't leave their dead. Once he figures out they're men, he notices that they have their dead slung across their horses as they're leaving.
Okay.
So they carry off their dead. They never leave their dead. And the Eaters of the Dead, the Wendol, they believe that if they kill and eat and wear the skins of bears, that they get the powers of a bear. and they act like bears. They live in a cave. The cave is actually their Helm's Deep. They have a village in front of the cave. You see that in the movie? They're actually occupying that village until Bulvi and his team strike back. Once they strike back, because the times that Hrothgar's men have been attacked, it was a harvest, right? This was war. We fought back. That isn't supposed to happen. They have a God-given motherfucking right to take you and eat you. You don't fight back against them. So when that happened, they went into war mode and went into their Helm's Deep, which is the Thunder Cliffs. And then that's when they come down with the glowworm. And that is an act of war. That is not a harvest. They weren't burning buildings and stuff. They were coming in, sneaking in, and taking people.
Okay.
And then we fought back. So then they went to war. But they do not have supernatural abilities. But like, I don't think he says it in the movie. But in the book, he talks about how at this point he's been with them for like a year on this journey or something. And he says when you live long enough with superstitious people, you find yourself becoming superstitious like they are.
Mm-hmm.
So that messes with his head when the fighting starts. And then he gets grounded again when he sees that it's a man in a bear costume, basically. It's the guy from Midsummer. So that's what this is why the angel of death in her prophecy, and when she casts the bones, the 13th warrior cannot be a Northman.
Oh.
Because the Northmen are afraid of the Wendol. And once he sees it's the man, he's not afraid of them really anymore. Because you can kill a man. You can't kill a spirit, but you can kill a man. So
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah. Now, also in the book, though, like they talk about the glowworm being a dragon and all that. And they talk about that, but when he tells them it's riders on horseback, they're like, well, yeah, what'd you think it was? Like, they're not as dumb or superstitious as they are in the movie. But it is a term that everyone in the North understands, right? They know what that is. It's just a stream of fire coming down at you. But yeah, no, I think what I've always taken it as in the movie is you'll notice they seem supernatural in the first part of the movie. And then once it's revealed to you and Ibn Fadlan that it's a man, you'll notice they quit being supernatural altogether. So
yeah, I just misread that scene because like they have at some point in the movie they have a conversation about how they like drift away with the mist.
Yeah, they always come
and the very last shot of them was like ostensibly like disappearing into the mist. It's shot like really, really wide.
Yeah,
and I guess I misread that scene because I thought they were showing they were like supernatural at the end.
If you look, they ride over a hill.
Okay.
And disappear over a hill.
Okay.
The land is like the Windows XP screen, the desktop background. It's a rolling hill, and they ride over the hill and disappear over the hill. No, it is shot in a way to make you believe that the Norsemen's superstitions about them. But like in Beowulf, he fights Grendel and rips Grendel's arm off with his bare hands.
Metal.
Well, they leave behind a bare hand, right? It's a bear claw on the end of a stick, and they're like, here's one of the creature's arms.
Yeah.
And you know that the one part of Beowulf everyone usually knows is the arm is hung like a trophy in the Great Hall above the door.
Yeah.
And like that's what that is. That's what that is from. So that is one of their weapons is the sharpened bear claws on the end of a stick. But it is so they can continue pretending to be bears because they have bear skins and eat bears and eat people and stuff, and they get the powers of those creatures. So they leave behind. They took their dead, but they left behind one of their arms, quote unquote, and it is a bear arm because they are bear creatures. But he ripped his arm off with his bare hands in the story. It's a loose thing, but it is a way to reference the story.
Okay, another question I had, since you're my 13th warrior expert.
Ibn Fadran.
First of all, you have to forgive the movie for having Antonio Banderas as a Muslim. This was like
this is the 90s.
It's so okay. Them getting Antonio Banderas is like the equivalent of like 90s wokeness, I would say, because they didn't just get a white dude.
Yeah, they didn't get a white guy.
They at least didn't get, it's not perfect, it's not good. At least they didn't get a white dude. You know, it could have been worse. You had to forgive them for that. It was 1999. But my question that I was referring to, Dennis, how do you pronounce his Harrier? Is that
Harrier, what you said? Like the jet.
What the fuck are these names, dude? I can't keep
Well,
track.
look at Bullseye.
Okay. Harrier.
It has a fucking F at the end
and
a W.
What like probably my favorite scene in the movie is when he is doing the duel where he's pretending to be shit at fighting.
That is word for word, moment for moment in the book.
I love that scene, but what is the reasoning behind faking out the random guy? Because I didn't fully understand what the, so they talk about how the reason they did that was because they wanted the guy to realize they were smart instead of just strong, so he'd kind of like fuck off.
Fear
Who was
of
that
the
dude?
unknown.
Who was that dude, and why were they trying to do that? Like, why? Like, what was the purpose for them? Because the way I read it, once the movie was ongoing, I was like, hey, didn't y'all know you're about to be in a fight? So like, don't we want that big fighter guy? So why did they fake out the other dude by killing the guy in the duel? What was the purpose of that?
So it was a it's how exactly is it worded in the book? It's something like the task is fit for a basilisk or something like that. And I remember I told you there's two voices in the book. There's Ibn Fadlan and the scholar that is going through the manuscript. And he explains how this is a Norse expression referring to the monster, the basilisk, which if it looks at you, you die. You can't kill it because if you stab it, its blood is poison and travels up the sword to your arm and poisons you and kills you. The only way you can kill it, it has to see its own reflection. And that is the part of the myth of the basilisk that the Norse expression refers to. And Ibn Fadlan doesn't understand what this saying means, but he has to go repeat it to Bullseye because a man comes, pretends to look at his wounds, but he's really telling him about how the prince is not only telling Hrothgar that Bullseye plans to overthrow the kingdom and become king, but that like he plans to like do it himself. Like he plans to like, once this is all over, he's going to take the kingdom for himself and stuff. So when he tells him that this is a job or a fight fit for a basilisk, Bullseye and Harrier agree. And he's like, well, what does that mean? And then he's like, did they tell you they don't use prince. King Hrothgar is the king and or chieftain, but I forget what the prince is actually called. But anyways, his son, the prince, they can't go after him because he's the fucking prince. So they're like, well, a way to get him to stop, because he's also planning on preemptively killing Bullseye. So like once this is over, he plans to basically kill Bullseye. So the way to send a message to him is to kill his friend, because he will see himself in his friend's death.
Oh, okay.
Is what he meant by this is a task befitting a basilisk or something like that.
I think all of this was very poorly conveyed because I was so confused. I was like, don't we want the big fighter dude for the impending battle? Isn't that more important than this like squabble we have going on?
In the movie, they just straight up say it's like the fear of what he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He knows how strong they are. He doesn't know how clever they are. He can plan for how strong they are. He cannot plan for how clever they are. And another piece that may be missing in this for some people is the Vikings did not just value strength. They valued cunning also. Like, there's a lot of stories in their mythology about, like, how Odin turned into an eagle and flew away, and when he was being chased by someone, he literally just shit in the other person's face.
So the person stopped chasing him, and that was seen as clever. There's a lot of stories about how they get what they want by cheating people out of things and not having to fight them, like in the most dickish ways, but that is seen as a heroic trait to have. And that is what is on display. Harrier and Bulvi are showing the guy how clever they are so that he will back off. They're showing that they are more, they not only know his plan and have figured out what he's doing, but he has no idea how smart they actually are. They're not just idiots with a sword that he can actually plan for.
See, I totally get like the whole we're trying to have a display of cunning. I totally get that, and the way that they have Harrier explain that, I totally get. To me, the problem is the positioning of the scene, because I love the scene. It's my favorite scene in the movie. I love Harrier's performance. He's great. The dialogue is really good. The positioning is weird because they're taking out who is one of their better fighters like hours before. Like they're fucking building the defenses. Yeah. So it's like, why don't we have the big dude, I don't know, like help us fucking fight the creatures, you know, whatever. I forget at what point they figured out they were just people, but like the attackers, and then focus on this shit later, or it should have happened a lot sooner. That way because it just felt really bizarre to have them do that so close to what to me was like a much bigger, it would be like Game of Thrones, like, as they're prepping for the attack on Winterfell, you know, like against the zombies, we're real quick gonna like go kill one of who could be one of our better fighters, you know. It's just it's a weird positioning to me.
I think what is missing is in the book, Ibn Fadlan addresses everything you just said exactly the way you just said it. But the problem is the second narrator comes in and talks about Viking and Norse culture and the warrior culture and how they value honor and stuff more than anything. So the thing that's been happening through the whole book is they've been fighting and killing people drunk throughout the entire book in this same fashion that you see. It's the first time you see that this is a duel. You know, like two people like turning their backs to each other, taking 10 paces, turning around and shooting each other.
Yeah.
This is a duel, but the rest were like bar fights where people died. That party at the beginning, the funeral for the king, like 4 fucking people died in that,
it was a great party.
At that funeral. It was a great party. Like Harrier talks about what a great night that was. Like, and every time someone dies, they all laugh and that, like hysterically. But in this time, in the book and in the movie, once what is it, Angus or whatever his name was, when he dies, they're not happy. They're not celebrating because they also know they need him for this fight. But
gotcha.
Honor is at stake. And you'll notice he says, see to your friend, right? He was a good man or he's a good warrior or whatever. Like Bulvi's not happy about it and Harrier's not happy to do it. And it's like the only time that Ibn Fadlan mentions that like they killed someone and didn't think it was fun. So,
gotcha. Yeah. I think part of the problem with it is if you don't have a lot of this context from either rewatching it multiple times or from having like read this book, or it's like they leave a lot like hazy in the movie, and I think that's partially probably just because they were only like, how long is this movie? Like 100 minutes? Like it's pretty lean.
Yeah. And another part of the problem is they can't take it out because it's such a huge moment in the book. So they can't just write it out either because
I'm glad they didn't. I like the scene. I like the scene a lot. It was just where it was positioned and how it was explained. It was strange to me because I don't have as much like background on this.
Just watching Harrier though be so exhausted, and then as soon as he kills the guy, he's not even out of breath anymore.
He's so good. It's so good.
He does it in one move.
And he's so casual. I love it. It's the best scene in the movie.
The best part though, like the action stuff is great. It's letter for letter of the book. The part that makes it great for me is when he goes over and picks up his last shield, and then it cuts to the other guy. He's holding his shield, and he just looks down at the ground, and there's 2 more. The camera pans down. Like, that's the best part of the whole thing. But yeah, and then like Ibn Fadlan can't imagine, like, this is a thing that you would like gift someone a few camels and maybe a woman and it goes away. Like, he can't imagine you would take someone's life, or even why you would even fight in a duel to begin with. And like, Bolvi, what the fuck is going on? Do you know what is going to come down that mountain? Do you know what's on its way down? Like, Bolvi just won't talk to him about it. Mainly because Bolvi doesn't speak Latin, and Ibn Fadlan has only found Latin is the only language that he has in common with anyone. So he's yelling at him in Latin, and Bolvi doesn't understand him. But yeah.
How was the Harrier actor not recruited for Game of Thrones?
I don't know.
80,000 different like options in that movie, in that series. He'd be amazing as. How is he not in that show?
I don't know. He should have been. He absolutely should have been.
Like, they have the Blackfish, dude. Why aren't we also like hit up your boy? We gotta get Dennis the Menace in here, fuck up some wildlings or something. Like,
yeah, Dennis
something.
I love that he's Harrier the Joyous, because I told you in text message the other night, he finds all of the misfortune that happens to them hilarious. Like, he has some way to spin it into some optimistic thing, but it's a hollow optimism. He's not being optimistic. So something that's missing in the movie that I kind of wish they had showed more is in the movie works perfectly fine, because I found the movie first. So the movie, I think it still works perfectly fine. But what makes it better is in the book, Ibn Fadlan constantly remarks upon, like, he's constantly voicing how he's terrified and they make fun of him for it. And the thing that he can't understand is he can tell by looking at each and every one of them that they are literally shaking and that they are just as terrified and scared as he is. But no one will talk about it. And they keep making all of these jokes. And the thing he's not wrapping his head around is they're easing their tension with the jokes, right? Like, they're just as scared as he is, so they're going to make jokes and laugh about it nervously. And Harrier is the fucking king of it through the whole thing. Like, when they're in the water and they got to swim out, and they're like, how far is it? Can we hold our breath? Like, I don't know. Do we stand here and die fighting them, or do we drown under there? And then when they start going underwater and he stops and he's like, well, at least we'll know if they don't follow us, it was too far to swim. And then he goes underwater and swims.
It's really good. Like, yeah, that's one of the best lines of the movie.
It's so good.
He is the one character that I was like, please don't die. Please don't die.
After
he's the one character I'm invested in. It's everyone else is like, I don't really care.
See, he's so important in the book because he is the only one that can talk to Ibn Fadlan.
Gotcha.
Because he speaks Latin and Ibn Fadlan knows Latin. So that he's the only one that can translate anything back and forth or anything. And he hates doing it. There's times that he'll be like, well, what did Bolvi just say? And he'll be like, you're a stupid Arab, and just walk off because he's tired of translating.
Yeah, it is. I wish they had made more commentary about that, because if you like watching stuff get explained to Antonio Banderas, this is a movie for you, because the first like 30 minutes of the movie is just shit getting explained to Antonio Banderas. Oh. And I think the pacing is like fucking whack for the first like 30 minutes. I was just like, what is this movie? Because it's just people explaining shit to Antonio Banderas. And I have another quick question.
Yeah.
Before I forget, because you'll know this from the background details. Okay. Ibn Fadlan is constantly telling them he's not a warrior and he sucks at fighting. Why is it all of a sudden once he gets a scimitar, he's like a badass? So was he lying to them, or is it just like movie hero gotta kick ass now time?
It's for the movie.
Okay, because that really bothered me, because if you're that fucking god tier with the scimitar, you could probably kind of handle a broadsword.
Yeah.
So when he can't even fucking properly lift the broadsword, which is, if they had given him a claymore, it would make more sense, because it's fucking like a claymore is massive.
Yeah.
He just has a broadsword. So why does he look like me holding a fucking sword right there? But he gets a scimitar, and all of a sudden he's like, what's his face in The Mummy, like kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah. In the book, they just give him the broadsword, and he only uses the broadsword. and he kind of learns on the job. He like kind of accidentally kills a Wendol like you saw in the first battle, and he just kind of gets lucky and survives each encounter. He gets his ass kicked every single time. But the fact that he doesn't run away is what gets him like the warrior's respect, right? Because he's maintaining his honor.
And that'd have been really cool. But all of a sudden he has to be like
it's
a complete bat. It's like
it's for the screen.
And that's what's frustrating about watching something like this when you don't have these background details. Is I'm trying to figure out, is it just bad writing, or is it something I missed because there's all this background detail I don't know? Because like at first I thought he was just bullshitting them because all of a sudden he's a badass, but then like it doesn't make any sense. Because to me it makes more sense if he just kind of sucked, but he earned their respect by not running away, and that means it does like wonders for their perspective of him. And I think that's really cool characterization. But then all of a sudden he's just a badass, and it's like, well, that's lame, you know? It's like, yeah, I don't know. I did not like that part at all.
He learns a lot just like traveling with them, because they travel forever and they go through village after village after village to get to Hrothgar.
They should have shown him getting better progressively.
Yeah.
It is like flipping a fucking light switch. He goes from not being able to do anything to being as good a fighter as like the rest of them. Is kind of stupid because he goes fucking Super Saiyan like instantly.
How good of a fighter he is in that first fight is kind of how good he is the whole time. He does get lucky a couple of times, and he does talk about how in the that final confrontation he kills about as many of them as the warriors do, but not as skillfully as they do. Like he attributes any just surviving and any skill he has just to Allah and Muhammad, because
I think it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because he has no skill, he has no combat experience except what he's had on this journey.
I think what would have worked better if I was like Monday morning quarterbacking this, they should have had him have previous exposure to archery.
Yeah.
And develop be able to, he's not a warrior, he can't use a sword, but he's used a bow in the past, and then he could learn from the other dude. And then that isn't him randomly becoming Geralt with a fucking sword like in a nanosecond. That whole part, like I legitimately thought he was lying to them the whole time. I was so confused.
So he does have archery experience. However, I forget exactly what country Ibn Fadlan is from. But the bows that they use are short bows. And he distinctly talks about Harrier trying to teach him how to use a Northman's longbow. But eventually Harrier just gives up on him and says fuck it, and never finishes teaching him anything, because he can't even draw the bow.
When you're trying to teach a new guy at work who's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he says he couldn't even draw the bow, and Harrier's just like, well, just draw it. Like, you just pull it back. Yeah. That's all you got to do. And he couldn't even do that. By the way, do you remember me texting you some time ago about like, holy shit, I just learned or just figured out that like Vikings believe that swords and arrows and spears are meant for piercing, axes go for the heart, and swords cleave the head. And that's why Thor like put the axe in Thanos' chest, because he was holding a fucking axe, and the axe is made to go for the heart.
Wait, are you serious? That's so cool. I didn't know that. That's
dude,
such a cool
I texted you that when I found out, and the way I found that out was I periodically I have a handful of audiobooks I rotate through when I have nothing to listen to, and Eaters of the Dead is one of them. And I had just watched Infinity War and then went back to Eaters of the Dead.
That's so
not
cool.
Related. And there's a part where Ibn Fadlan is talking how Harrier described to him what they believe weapons are used for. And they use axes. Vikings use axes to hit the chest. And what did Thor do? And as I remember texting him, like, did they fucking do that on purpose? Like, that's intentional, right? And you're like, it has to be, because...
Yeah, I'd forgotten about this. That's super cool detail. I forgot about that.
And I was like, what the fuck? Well, what had prompted those random string of texts you got from those frantic texts you got from me was I had been listening to this book again. I don't know, playing Subnautica or something probably, and
that's the ultimate Ron thing, is listening to Eaters of the Dead while playing Subnautica.
Fuck
that is
yes. And then I just started frantically texting you like, Jeff.
If you were listening to Eaters of the Dead while playing Subnautica while watching X-Men 97, that would be like the most Ron thing you could think of. Or the animated Spider-Man show.
Frantically texting you about how all of them are connected. It's all connected, Jeff. What do the numbers mean, Mason?
And you wonder why I can't remember all of our text messages, because this is a random string of the 17 things you're concurrently doing. It's like, I can barely get through one thing at a time. Ron is fucking multitask. Like, you're like going through the fucking multi-futures like Doctor Strange, like figuring out like 17 million different interpretations of what can fucking happen.
Did you know the Vikings thought that the axe was meant specifically for the chest? And also, why do I hit a rock and just get titanium? But yeah.
Oh man.
At some point, my text messages to you must just become any adult from Charlie Brown.
Pretty much.
Wah, 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 wah.
It's like you're speaking to me like the way David Tennant does in Blink. Just like
you are Ibn Fadlan around the campfire listening to everyone talk. That's my text messages to you. Oh
fuck. Yeah, you're not it's not far off. So yeah, I probably sound like, so I don't love this movie. I think it's decent. I would probably like this much more on a second viewing. Like not, you know, like we watched this several years ago, so this is like a brand new movie again for me because I just didn't remember it that well. But in like more quick succession, because I think the movie conveys some of these details like they could have done it better, and that just left me confused in a few scenes where I was just like, what the fuck what's that, what's this? But yeah, I'm glad we had this podcast about it so I could kind of like get some of these answers, because I was like, what the fuck, why is he a badass with a scimitar all of a sudden?
You want to know something else they changed?
What's that?
He didn't get exiled, quote unquote exiled. He's exiled, but he's unofficially exiled because he was basically sent to Siberia, right?
He just got reassigned, yeah.
Well,
to get him the fuck out of Dodge.
It wasn't because he fell in love with the wrong woman. There was no love involved. The guy that he said it was the guy's wife that he was in love with or whatever, and he had the caliph's ear or whatever, and the caliph sent him away. That guy's job means that he's very rarely home, and women are property, so she's locked up at home behind, doesn't go outside or anything for months at a time. He's been given a message to give to this guy and only to this guy, so he has to stay at this house waiting for this guy to come back, however the fuck long that takes. And he just straight up bangs her in like the guy's bedroom.
Damn.
That is what he was, and one of the servants saw. One of the servants noticed. So that is what he's exiled for. Not falling in love with the wrong woman. It was, no, she's lonely and he likes women. So yeah, the opportunity was there. And then he gets exiled for it. And it is interesting that they got Antonio Banderas, because there's a lot made of every village they go to. Children running away scared of Ibn Fadlan because of his dark skin, and people like poking him to see if he's real, or like women will rub his arm to see if he's painted and it rubs off. Like, I don't feel like Antonio Banderas is dark enough for that.
Yeah, but also that makes sense in like historical context, because like Japanese people still do that shit with black people.
Yeah,
you know, they have like that whole like holiday around it or whatever. It's
it's fucking weird.
It's so weird.
But then there's also like women would constantly like, they would be like constantly like giggling and kind of flirty with him, which he didn't understand what was wrong with them. And Harrier basically explains to him that it's something to do with his nose. You know, like how we say if a guy has big hands or big feet, that's what the North people believe about the nose.
Interesting.
So they like want to sleep with him because they're tired of all these fucking white men and their little noses.
I mean,
and broken
who
noses.
isn't tired of white dudes?
Right?
I mean, let's be honest.
What is that? Oh God, what is that movie? There's a meme from a movie. Is it El Dorado? Is that the movie with the two dudes find El Dorado or whatever? There's a meme.
The Road to El Dorado?
The Road to El Dorado, something like that. There's a meme where someone took a screen capture of like the king or whoever he is, like, these white men are dangerous, and someone like screenshotted that and just said all of human history summed up.
It's so good.
Oh man,
so good.
But yeah, I know. Let's see. Hrothgar is just straight up Hrothgar from Beowulf. His name is Hrothgar. It's interesting too. You see them when they pull up at Hrothgar's place, shaking their head disdainfully about his kingdom. And in the book, Ibn Fadlan asks, like, this is the most haughty, like, most decorated thing he's ever seen. And he talks about how he's never seen wood worked this way. Like, it was absolutely gorgeous to him, right? And he asked Harrier if they don't like it because, like, he fancies himself a king, so everything's decorated like he's a king. And it has nothing to do with the decorations. It's the way his kingdom is laid out. Basically was daring the gods to bring the Wendol down upon him because everything is built for warfare. So no doors face each other the way they're constructed. And the way everything is constructed, it can be used for cover once you're assaulted. And also, all the door frames are like 3 or 4 feet tall, so you have to bend down to go in. And all these things. And Hrothgar has like these big open doorways. There's doorways facing each other like crazy. Nothing is laid out in any kind of position for warfare. So it's just like, well, this is what happens when you build your kingdom this way. But yeah. Do you remember me making references to the Wendol when we covered The Descent? I was like, there's fucking Wendol here, man.
Bro, that was last year. You think I fucking remember that recording? Fucking no.
That's where I got this. This is where I was.
Yeah. What's funny is
references.
when they went to the cave, my brain immediately went to The Descent. So
Yeah,
makes sense.
I was like the goddamn Wendol in this cave. But yeah.
Oh, Snake Lady was cool. I dug the Snake Lady fight.
Yeah,
she's creepy as fuck.
She represents Grendel's mother.
And Grendel in the actual Beowulf story actually was a monster, right?
He was a descendant of Cain, according to the story. Cain killed Abel, of course, and all of Cain's
spoilers.
And all of Cain's children are monstrous and hideous because of it. So he's a descendant of Cain. He's got claws and talons and fangs and stuff.
So he's basically a monster.
He's a big old monster, a big old humanoid monster, and he hates parties, Jeff. I'm gonna quote my the podcast I listened to, Strange Studies of Strange Stories. One of the dudes, they were laying out Beowulf and talking about how they partied so hard that Grendel just went full Grinch and couldn't stand the Who's anymore down in Whoville. And he just went down and started slaughtering people. Like the first guy he picks up, he just rips him in half with his bare hands.
Nice.
And he just goes down and starts slaughtering people and carries them away and eats them because he can't stand their loud ass parties. And Hrothgar is telling Beowulf about how every time we have these parties, he just keeps coming back. And we keep having parties, and he just keeps coming back and killing us. And one of the dudes was like, by the way, who's still going to these parties if Grendel comes down every single time you have a party? He was like, if I'm even the least bit uncomfortable at a party, the next time that person has a party, I feel pretty good about binging Netflix.
See, Grendel was filing noise complaints to the cops, but they never fucking do anything. So you gotta go take care of the problem.
They were talking about how the most relatable character in the story is Grendel because we've all had that neighbor.
Yeah, it won't turn his fucking music down at fucking 2 a.m.
It won't turn his music down. There's people coming and going. The streets littered with cars everywhere and empty beer cans.
Why does this man have a whole ass drum set in his fucking apartment, dude?
Yeah, I highly recommend that episode. It is so funny.
That sounds really funny. All right, Ron, we're coming up on 2 hours. So I'm gonna let you. Anything else with the 13th Warrior / Eaters of the Dead / John McTiernan's incarceration that you'd like to talk about?
Just the anecdote I alluded to earlier. Michael Crichton in the afterword talks about how some of the sources that he cites throughout the story are fake sources that he made up for the story to make the story work with how he had constructed it.
Some like House of Lee shit. It's pretty cool.
So they're like full on like MLA citations, right, in footnotes and stuff. But some of them are completely fabricated to the point that he said he spent hours in the library trying to find one of the sources he cited to review something and could not find it after hours and hours of searching. And finally, he just decided this must be one of the ones I made up.
That's so funny.
And he said he was furious when he left the library because
that is something I would do.
He just knew this was a real one, but apparently it wasn't. But he says that all of the sources he cites in the afterword are real to the best of his knowledge.
I love how he's accidentally created history and just bled out into reality because he forgot what was fucking fact or not.
That's my favorite line in the book, dude. Is all the sources cited in the afterword are real to the best of my knowledge.
Oh man, that's
fucking
good.
A+.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrote this book on a dare. And
nice.
It's literally, if you can't stand Beowulf, check out the book. Because Beowulf, I agree, is a good story. My fucking God, the prose.
Well, shit. There's still writers like that to this day. Like, I think Stephen King is a conceptual genius, and I can't stand the way he writes most of his books because it's so monotonous. And
I have dipped
detail-oriented.
I have dipped out of every one I've tried to read and every one I've tried to listen to. I've never made it through a Stephen King novel. In
I
form.
recommend the short story collections.
Okay.
Because I think Everything's Eventual is one of them that I read. That's where like 1408 came from. That was like one of his short stories in that.
See, now his adaptations I'm usually all over, right? Like Christine and
of course.
And fucking oh god, the telekinetic powers and the pig blood Carrie.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's a conceptual genius. So like when you're adapting it and you're like taking these stories that are fantastic and you can trim all the bullshit. That's the problem. Is like, but what I was saying, like when you read his short stories, he doesn't have time to dick around. So it's just like cool concepts, and they don't meander about looking at like a fucking oven for 17 pages. I'm just like, what am I fucking reading, dude? Stop. Go back to the plot.
Also, the last thing, he. In the book, they come across a village that they were super happy and excited to get to because it is the village that Bulvi is from. And for him to embark on this quest, he has to stop. And because this isn't just a regular quest, this is a hero's quest, which the Norsemen believed in, like, not just heroism and stuff, but there was also a heroic quest that if you underwent, right? Like, it's a thing that the gods give you. It's the thing that's going to put your name up there with the gods. You're going to be remembered for all time. This was a hero's quest. So he has to stop by his home, which is on the way to Hrothgar's kingdom, and see his parents and his family. And when they go there, it is burned to the ground and no one is alive. And they don't find any bodies or anything. They just find ashes and I'm trying to remember the King T'Challa line, blood and ash or whatever. That's pretty much all they find. And Bolvi comes out. You know that scene after he's been poisoned and he's just walking out dragging his sword behind him?
Yeah.
He walks out. He's not poisoned. He's perfectly healthy. But he's dragging this heavy-ass, big-ass, ridiculously huge sword behind him. And it is the sword of his family that's like passed down through his family. And a sword like that has magical properties, the Norse believe. So he went and reclaimed this sword. It sounds a lot like some of the swords that get reclaimed in Game of Thrones by certain family members or whatever that turn out to be Valyrian steel.
Yep.
But he comes out dragging this sword that he can barely lift. He is the strongest of the 13. He is the mightiest of the 13, and he can't hardly lift it any better than Ibn Fadlan can lift his own sword, he says. And that is the sword that he uses to fight the entire movie. That's the entire book, except for the end when they can't use swords in the Thundercliffs. They have to use the daggers that the dwarves give them and the ropes that the dwarves give them. But they that scene is very reminiscent of that, and that sword he has throughout the movie, that big ass sword. He's got the biggest sword in the movie. That's what that's a reference to. And that sword itself is a reference to, do you remember in Demon Souls the Dragon Smasher?
Yeah.
A sword so ridiculously big and heavy, it doesn't even cut, it just crushes.
Yeah.
And it's built specifically to kill dragons. That is what he kills Grendel's mom with in Beowulf. In Beowulf, he's given a magical sword by the prince that wants to kill him. And it cannot pierce Grendel's skin, and it cannot pierce the mom's skin. Because they are impervious to weapons. They have like a magical property about them. That's why he was able to rip Grendel's arm off with his bare hands, but not able to cut him or pierce him with a sword.
Gotcha. That also reminds me of I wonder if the main character in Berserk is a callback to that, because he has like the giant sword that's like unwieldy.
Almost certainly Demon Souls is pulling from that, but
which was pulling from Beowulf.
Which is probably pulling from Beowulf, but she is killing him. He can't hurt her. He can't pull her apart. But in her treasure trove, there is a sword that is the biggest goddamn sword Beowulf has ever seen. And he basically crushes her head off with it when he slams it into her neck.
Metal.
And he takes her head off, but it doesn't really slice so much as it just grinds her head off because of how big and heavy it is. And
fucking meat hammer, pretty much.
And that is what Bolvi's sword is supposed to be. And the thing, it's one of the best parts of Beowulf, and it's a part that they kind of removed from the book in this when he goes and retrieves that sword, and that is the sword he's using to fight. He can't use it in the Thundercliffs though because they don't know why, but the dwarves tell them they can't use swords; they have to use these daggers, and they give them these daggers. In the Thundercliffs, the caves are so tight they wouldn't have been able to swing a sword. It turns out.
Gotcha.
You notice some of them have their swords, but most of them have daggers in their teeth when they go swimming.
Yeah.
That's where that came from. They all abandon their swords, and they tell Ibn Fadlan to keep his dagger ready in his teeth, but out of his hands so he can swim.
I also thought when watching that scene, just like, it would actually be dark as fuck in that water, and that'd be terrifying.
Can I shout out my second favorite character real quick? I have no idea which actor or which character his name is, but he is the Tracker. I'm a sucker for any Tracker in any movie. The Tracker is always one of the coolest characters. He's got the black curly hair and like the kilt looking armor.
I think I know who you're talking about, but it's hard to say.
He's the one that Ibn Fadlan goes to bring him his meal at the watchtower, and he's not in the watchtower. He's in the tree behind the watchtower. He just kind of appears out of the tree. Yeah, and he's like, I thought to find you in the watchtower. He's like, yeah, that's why I'm not there. He's my second favorite character in the whole thing.
Man, I just love Dennis the Menace so much. He's such a cool fucking character.
I love that they find out all of this information, and he's not privy to the conversation at all. and he comes back after tracking the Wendol and tells them all the information that they've just found out, and he got it just from following them up the cliff. Like,
Yeah.
it's so good. But anyways, yeah. I think I love this book because I love the movie. And I love the movie because, like you said, it is a perfect, like, it's a Sunday afternoon. I'm going to turn on the 13th Warrior and just watch the fuck out of some Neanderthals being genocided by these Norsemen. And I watched this movie almost every single time I watched it when I lived with my parents with my dad.
Fuck yeah.
I have a lot of memories of me and my dad just sitting there watching their talk. His favorite character is Bolvi. And just sitting there and talking about, like, Bolvi and Harry are clearly, like, best friends and been through some shit together. But just, like, all the different characters and how the ones you do spend time with are fairly unique. It's kind of like our Lord of the Rings before we discovered Lord of the Rings, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And turns out there are reasons for why I might like Lord of the Rings if I like Beowulf and this.
It kind of gives me Highlander vibes.
Dude,
it's like if you did a double feature of the original Highlander movie with 13th Warrior.
Can you not just see the Bolvi actor being in a Highlander movie?
Apparently he was in the Equalizer with Denzel, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, neither did I, because everyone in this movie except Blackfish looks so fucking different outside of this movie. Like, Tony Curran, if I didn't know who he was intimately from various different movies and TV shows, I didn't recognize him then, and I should have known him then.
Right.
You know, everyone just kind of blends into the armor and the hairstyle and everything. But
yep.
Anyways, yeah, I fucking love this movie, and I've been waiting for a long time to get it on the show.
Could not tell. Like 90 minutes of this recording has just been like me sitting back and just like getting a history lesson of Years of the Dead. It's kind of cool. I was like, Ron did his fucking homework on this movie.
I'm going to also just do another shout out and a full-on recommendation for everything those two guys did. HPPodcraft.com is the easiest way to find them, because the HP HP Lovecraft podcast that they did ended when they ran out of HP God, I can't say it because their website, the HP Lovecraft stories, when they ran out of those, they had to pivot, and they changed the name when they did. So both podcasts are very good. It's the same style podcast. They tell you what story they're going. It's the same thing. It's a book club, which is what our podcast is for movies. So they tell you what the next story is they're going to read, and then you come back and listen to them after you've read it also, and listen to them talk about it. And they'll have Andrew Lehman and people like read excerpts from the story. Andrew Lehman reading excerpts from Beowulf is everything I fucking wanted, Jeff.
Yeah, I've been circling around trying to find other podcasts recently. So and I was thinking of starting their HP Lovecraft one.
Yeah, you'll probably do what I did, which was, I don't really care about the other one. I'm gonna start with the Lovecraft one. By the time I was done with it, I was like, fuck, man, I want to listen to more of what they had to say about shit. So I found the other podcast and I listen to it now. So.
And is that still ongoing, their other one?
It is still ongoing, but when they created the new show, they pivoted to a Patreon model. So every month there is one free episode and then like 4 paywalled.
Gotcha.
So it's once a month on the free feed, and then there's I think there's 4 or 5 episodes a month that they do. Gotcha. They do like one a week plus a bonus or something.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check them out because it's been on my short list of podcasts to check out.
Dude, one of the dudes is fucking hilarious, and he does all the music, and he puts out the music in albums that you can buy.
Dope.
I think it's like Ghost Disco or something. Go to their website, go to like volume 1 and listen to Ghost Disco. It's my favorite one that they put in their intros and outros.
Nice.
It's so fucking good.
All right. I think
I will shut up now.
I think we might eventually have to have a part 2 of this, so Ron can just ramble about more Wikipedia findings he's found about Beowulf.
You know, I'm probably eventually going to have that Zemeckis film on here, right?
I was gonna say earlier, like, this is making me want to watch it just because I'm not gonna fucking read Beowulf, but I'll listen to it or I will watch the movie.
It was hard to get through the audiobook. So it's not a fun read, but there's so much good in Beowulf. Any adaptation of it you can find. There are translations that make it easier. It's one of those things that, you know, it was told through the ages. One reason why scholars like that story so much also is they talked about in that HP Podcraft episode how when an author writes a story, you get a snapshot of the time and the era and the culture through the eyes of that one person. But this was an oral story passed down by generations by hundreds of people. It changed and evolved throughout time before it was put on paper. And that's when it solidified, is once it's put on paper. So you get this snapshot of all these different times and all these different eras and all these different philosophies rolled into one document through the eyes of dozens, if not dozens of people before it was solidified. And that's why scholars love it so much.
Gotcha.
Even if you don't read Beowulf, just read up on Beowulf. Like, it's an interesting thing to study. People have made their entire career about Beowulf.
Yeah, like Ron.
Yeah. I've made this entire podcast about Beowulf.
Ron was like, I'm going to shut up now. One more thing. Oh, man. But yeah, I just kind of like walked away. I just like imagine like this 4-hour version of this recording while I've just gone to sleep and Ron is just still like waxing poetic about the intricacies of Beowulf.
But oddly enough, I'm like slowly losing more and more clothing as I talk about it. I did verify it's Ghost Disco. It's on volume 1 on the HP Podcraft website.
Nice. I'll have to check out that podcast here soon.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyways.
If you really check out our podcast more, you can follow us on Twitter for show updates. Do you like Beowulf? Boy, do we have a co-host for you. You can find us on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. Shout out to everyone who has found us on YouTube recently.
Yes,
we've had a lot of traction thanks to the Kung Fu Hustle video going kind of nuclear for our standards. So Bobby coming in clutch with the huge YouTube hit. So good job, Bobby. Thanks for that. And also, Kung Fu Hustle is a badass movie.
Yes.
I immediately forgot all of it once I had to watch Battlefield Earth and had to refrain from jumping off of a fucking local bridge.
I regret renting Kung Fu Hustle instead of buying it. I should have bought it.
I should have bought it too. If I didn't, I can't remember.
Because I can see just turning that on one day when I have nothing. I feel like I have nothing I want to watch or anything.
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle is fucking awesome. Yeah, if you found us on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. Always helps out the channel. If you have any questions for us, you can drop them in those YouTube comments or email us screenplayrewind@gmail.com. Ron, where can people find you for additional Beowulf content?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at RonSenseTV. The Ron Goose is loose, baby.
The Ron Goose is loose. I am at GMillerSPR, which I never plug.
I was gonna say, holy shit.
I was just about to say I never plug because I don't fucking tweet because Twitter is a hellscape now. So
no, but you're active. I see you liking my shit.
I like
my ridiculousness.
Stuff. I am a lurker on there. I don't tweet because I hate myself for being on Twitter.
But to everyone that has found us recently, wherever you found us, thank you sincerely for listening and following and engaging, because we've been doing this for a while now. We're starting to get some engagement.
Yeah. We probably need to figure out a way to release stuff more frequently, because I think what also helped was releasing stuff once a week
weekly.
for that helps the algorithm too, because YouTube likes one per week, like a certain amount of like dedicated percentage of like the thing that's been listened to. Like they like to have like the first one is like 10 minutes of the thing listened to or watched, and that helps the algorithm. There's like a whole like fucking science behind that shit that's stupid, but
I mean, it really wouldn't be that hard to watch 2 movies and hammer out 2 podcasts on like a Saturday afternoon or something.
I almost wonder if we should have some type of like we're just doing admin on the fucking ending of the show, but an ongoing.
Welcome to the green room.
Yeah, we need to have some type of like green room type thing that is an ongoing shorter version of the show as the interstitial, which I wonder might be like a good idea.
You know what? Tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Write us, email us, hit us in the comments, tweet us.
Yeah, do it.
However you prefer to get a hold of us, get a hold of us. Tell us what you want to hear. If we don't have a preferred way, if you want us somewhere else, if you want me to make another social media page somewhere else, or if this podcast, you're finding it on YouTube, but it's not on your podcast service that you want, let us know.
Welcome to episode 1 of Beowulf Rewind.
Don't tempt me.
And Ron, for episode
100.
Drum roll, please. We are going to cover Furiosa. Probably the movie I am most excited for this whole year. I figured it would work as kind of like a special event thing because you and I very rarely
and we'll
cover
be coming to you live from inside the movie theater.
It's going to be an extra special recording because Ron and I might die.
We'll be beat to death with our own microphones.
Yeah. If
midnight Thursday night.
If you don't see that upload here soon, you know we died.
No, I'll have Chris get a hold of the audio and
you're gonna have a fucking dead man switch
unabridged.
Fuck, dude. Oh man. Yeah, but I figured that would work because you and I very rarely cover something that's brand new. Typically, it's us kind of like diving through slightly older stuff. So I thought, you know what? We need an excuse to go to the fucking opening week showing and annoy an entire auditorium of humans. It's gonna be beautiful. I can't wait. Yeah.
I just can't get that image out of my head. I'm sorry.
Of you and me being mercilessly slaughtered in a Cinemark theater.
Oh man.
Someone wielding a Cinemark auditorium chair like the fucking sword they can't wield properly in Beowulf. Oh,
the
man.
Dragon
Cause
Smasher.
of death recliner.
Cause of death recliner.
Oh man, yeah, I can't wait. I'm super stoked for Furiosa, and it makes us a bookend to Fury Road, which we covered a few months ago. So in the meantime, if you haven't listened to or watched our YouTube video for Fury Road, we covered that somewhat recently, so go check that out. Ron, are you good? You got any postscripts about Beowulf we can squeeze in before we sign off?
All right, you heard it. This is Jeff's fault. All right, so some of my other notes that I had.
Cue the outro music, please.
I did make notes, by the way. I have notes.
Oh, I believe you, man.
You
I
don't
believe
have to
you.
tell me.
Your fucking notes. You created fictional postscripts of actual historical accountings that forgot which ones were the real ones and which ones were the fake notes. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
This is the podcast that never ends.
I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.